Please don't think me presumptuous if I give you, say, the analogy of, say, a painter who paints a tree, a landscape, or even a bowl of fruit. I'm sure that the painter is not a bit interested in the apples for themselves alone, but in the technique of his work, which stimulates the emotion of the viewer of his picture. After all art is experience.
Filmmaking tells a story. And no, not the story prepackaged that comes with every film. I'm talking about the story the camera tells you. Cinematography. It's the science and art of putting together a cohesive and interesting viewing experience for the moviegoer.
Your character is close up to the camera?
That's cinematography.
You can barely tell where your character is because they're so far away.
Cinematography.
It's the way a film directs your eyes to what you should be looking at.
Filmmaking is made up of so many components, but none of them, aside from story, play as important of a role as cinematography. It's as much why you look as it is what you look at.
Here's a shot from the Coen brothers' film Fargo. William Macy's character is seen walking out to his car. It could have been a simple wide angle from the side showing the distance he needs to travel. But this shot frames the snowy parking lot as the background, making the car and the character pop against the whiteness.
It's that emptiness and loneliness that doesn't just give the basic details, but gives the weight and mood of the shot.
Macy's character feels small against the vast snow. We're supposed to look at him as a puny man coming out of the previous scene, and that's exactly what cinematography does. It gives you the pieces to understand the story unfolding.
Each film has their own special style. You can tell it's a Wes Anderson film from the first shot or two. The symmetrical framing, the wide shots, the cuts between rooms using fake sets.
And, of course, the pastel color palette.
That last one isn't really part of cinematography, but otherwise, this distinction in style from film to film is, you guessed it, cinematography.
Here are a couple examples of those styles. It's for food, but the sentiment remains. Each style is distinct and unique to the directors and teams that work on the film. So, on top of the story you get from the camera movement or the framing, you get a feel for the director's intent with their films. You get the weird 60s Europop style of Wes Anderson. The 80s slasher flick meets anti-hero style of Quentin Tarantino. Or the suspense mixed with novel adaptation style of Stanley Kubrick.
You get the story and the director from something as simple as how a character fits in a frame. From extreme wide shot to extreme close-up, framing tells us what to look at. As for movement, the camera follows it using a set of dollies, pans, zooms, tilts, and cuts to give a sense of movement to a scene.
Action and cutting to music, as filmmaker Edgar Wright is known for, gives a flow to the scene. Panning between two characters between pauses gives a sense of anticipation between two characters.
The vertigo effect, first used in Hitchcock's Vertigo,
which combines moving the camera forward while zooming the lens out, can be used to create fear and discomfort.
The continuous shot, used heavily by many directors, but most notably Spielberg, gives a sense of reality to a scene by not breaking it up into many shots, but instead opting for one continuous shot. This is a continuous shot.
The extreme close-up,
to show the sensual or careful nature of an action or feature.
the extreme wide shot,
To show the vastness of space or the barrenness of a desert.
a character's in power,
Then they'll usually be shot from below, looking up, to give them that sense of power.
a character is running away from something,
Handheld is almost always used to make you feel like you need to run too. And the best part is that you don't need them to tell you these things for you to feel them. It's there, in the back of your mind.
you feel the suspense in a scene like this from Hitchcock's Marnie. Every time we cut to the shoe, you feel it more and more.
Cinematography is the thread that connects the story told to the emotions felt. So the next time that you're at the movies and you see a cool trick or a interesting camera angle, just remember that's good old cinematography there. And if you don't see it, that's good too. It's just doing such a good job you were too busy being scared or laughing to notice. The art of filmmaking takes an army to do right.
And that's why there's 5 minutes of credits at the end of every single film ever. And while a few people are given the big credits, some aren't. One thing that is not always appreciated is the cinematography of the films we watch.
The shots, the movements, and the styles all add to the viewing experience. Let's just hope the art of framing and shooting doesn't get lost in the background. Film is a wonderful art form. I'm no expert in the field, so I'll let a pro handle this ending.
We're trying to create something different.